few months after I left, my very good friend was getting married to my ex-husband, who was a pastor. My very good friend. We prayed together. We ate together. We went on evangelism together. We talked about life together. We prayed about her situation. She wanted to be married. We prayed about it. I encouraged her. She was my bosom friend. A few months after I left, she was getting married to my husband. Let's talk about church hurt. A lot of people continue to say the way they treated me in church. I used to go to church before, but after they did X, Y, Z, I stopped going to church. Let's unpack that. Listen, this friend of mine was very close to me. If there was anyone that I would say, world, listen to them, if they had to say anything honestly about my situation at the time, I would tell the world to listen to them. It was her. This person was getting married to my ex-husband when I left, few months after I left. Let me give you a bit more context. I still had his last name as my last name on Facebook. We were still married. I had just left because I was losing myself. What was always occurring at the time was I would pass out and then I'll be told that I was talking and I just slumped. It happened more than once and I knew I had to walk away to save my life. I had just left. Well, to be honest and fair to her, maybe a few weeks after I left, she reached out to me with a WhatsApp message. And I don't remember exactly what she said because at the time I was a mess. But I remember it was something along the lines of what's going on. Listen, the way that I was raised in a very conservative, religious environment. Divorce was never a conversation. We didn't even have divorce in our vocabulary. One of the things also was the fact that we couldn't even talk about what we were going through with anybody else. It was said that three was the crowd. I didn't tell her anything, but this person was so close to my ex-husband and I that she had barged into conversations where I was being verbally assaulted or maybe even physically assaulted. In fact, I remember more than once she would tell church members when they ask things like, "Mama, how come you're wearing this? You wore this last week." And she would tell them, anything Mama wears is not how, it's pastor that tells her to wear. So whatever you see her wearing, that's what pastor says she should wear. Don't ask her questions. So this person knew so well what, at least to a good extent, better than everybody else, knew so well what my experience was. And then there she was, getting married to him just a few months after I left. Guys, I was still legally married to this person. And she had the idea, she knew. So you might be asking, how did I find out? I'm here somewhere in Nigeria. I was encouraging this church member who was on my team when I was still with them. So I reached out to him on Facebook. It was a Saturday, I guess. And I was asking him how is the cell doing? I had left, but I was still interested and trying to be sure that everything was okay. How's the cell doing? Has he reached out to XYZ people? Are they coming to church? Da, 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 da. And he told me, "Mama, stop it." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm not going to go down there. But the conversation was, "Sister so and so is getting married." And I'm like, "Yay! Good news!" So at the time that I was married, I was in my early 20s. And this lady was in her mid or late 30s. She really wanted to be married. I remember we had prayed about it, and I remember that I would encourage her and tell her God knows best, God's time is, those kind of encouragements. And one time she fled up, "Don't tell me that, I don't want to be one of those women." I learned that you cannot go and be advising somebody that wants something. That was a person. Now you can imagine my excitement when I heard that she was getting married. I'm like, "Yay! Good news, wow, thank God." And he's like, "Stop it." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she says, "She's getting married to your husband." I don't know. I just said, "No way." I don't know what I felt. It was disbelief mixed with worry for her, mixed with worry for him, mixed with what is going on here. It was a lot of things. But the disbelief was like that. So I'm like, no, it can't be. He was like, yes, it is. And you are here telling me and acting all like everything was okay. I think when we ended the conversation, I was even afraid to check. But I had to check. So I checked her, searched her out. By the way, at the time, they were no longer my friends on social media. And I had to search for her. So I searched her out and I saw her page. Guess what was there? That young man wasn't telling a lie. It was true. She was getting married to him. I saw that he had gone to visit. Okay, there was a picture of her parents and him. And there was, wine and things on the table, gifts. And he had, the person who gave me this gist told me that the pastor had gone to ask for her hand in marriage. In Ghana, it's called knocking. And that was the picture that I saw, the picture of the knocking. That's what I saw. What really made it so fun was the caption on the picture. I remember it, trust me. This is what it was. She said, "Call me Esther. It's now my turn." Something like that. But it was "Call me Esther." And then she went on and on teaching about how Esther overthrew Vashti. Religious Christians. You're taking someone's husband and you have a message from the Bible to support it. Okay. So, I was now Vashti. Me, Abby, I was still legally married to him. I still bore his last name on Facebook. So of course I was Vashti, because she, who was the new wife, was Esther. Is that not the Esther and Vashti story? Well, you can interpret it whichever way you want, but to her, it was so. And by the way, before I left, she was sister so and so. But at the time, she had been ordained and she was now pastor, lady pastor so and so. And by the way, that was what I was called when I was there, Lady Pastor Joy. And there Esther was, after Vashti left, as the lady pastor. I just figured that the story wouldn't be complete if I didn't say exactly that Esther wasn't the bride. When my ex-husband would actually remarry, like proper wedding, it wasn't that Esther. Maybe he had another Esther. I'm not laughing at her. I'm only laughing at the whole Esther scenario, because she was about to be Esther and then she became Vashti for another Esther. So what does that make me? I don't know. While I'm laughing, honestly, I was worried. I was worried because I know to an extent who she was. And I have lived with my ex-husband long enough to hear his perception of her, or rather what he showed me was his perception of her. And he had said so many not so nice things about this lady. Yes, like so many not so nice things. And I'm like, you're getting married to her after, well, change is constant. And for her, she hasn't really said anything bad about this ex-husband of mine, but she was aware that I was in bonds being married to him. So I'm like, how are you aware of something this terrible and you walk in with your eye koro like they say in Nigeria, like you are walking into your own doom yourself? So I honestly was surprised and I wanted to see. In fact, when someone else reached out to me, I said, oh, I saw it, but I don't think it can work. I want to see how can they. So brethren, explain to me, what other church hurt can be greater than this one. And guess what? I still go to church. No. In fact, church is a blessing to me. Listen, playing with this scenario. Have you ever been in an environment where it rains and maybe there are like two bulbs, light bulbs now? There's the orange little bulb and there's the fluorescent long bulb. You know, when it rains, you see, if you're in Nigeria, those insects that gather around lights, right? Now, picture this in your mind. Picture this in your mind. You've got on the left a small orange bulb, and on the right, a very bright fluorescent white bulb. Very bright. Which one do you think the insects would gather around the most? Of course, the fluorescent bulb. You know why? The light is so bright, it attracts everything. Do you then say that the light bulb is bad because it attracts the insects? No. Listen, if the devil is throwing things at your spiritual life, you can tell it's targeting the relationships you have in the church. All the hurts you have are from church. Somebody stole from you, a church member. Someone duped you, a pastor. Someone lied about you, a deaconess. Someone wrongly accused you and you are in court, you have a court case. A prayer warrior in the church. Listen, it's not that the church is bad. It's that there is something on the inside of you that the devil is threatened about. And he knows that your faith is the strongest weapon that you have. So he's going to do everything to make you think that that's the wrong thing and take you away, because he knows that he can get you the fastest when you begin to say things like, this Christianity thing self na scam, and then you stop praying, stop reading your Bible. He has gotten you. We'll talk again.